This video is not about fear, it is about awareness. If you are over 40, your body does not age only during the day. It ages quietly at night, shaped by habits you may not even notice. Tonight, we will talk about the nighttime behaviors that slowly accelerate aging and why changing them does not require discipline, only understanding. Most people believe aging happens gradually over years through genetics and time, but after 40, aging becomes more sensitive to rhythm. Your body no longer responds only to what you do, it responds to when you do it. And nowhere is this more true than at night. Nighttime is when your body decides what to repair, what to delay, and what to let accumulate. It is when hormones recalibrate, when inflammation is either cleared or stored. When your nervous system chooses between restoration and survival. Many people unknowingly age their bodies faster, not because of poor daytime habits, but because of small nighttime patterns that send the wrong signals to the brain. Late meals, bright screens, mental overstimulation, irregular sleep timing, emotional carryover from the day. Each habit alone seems harmless. Together, they quietly reshape how your body recovers. After 40, your body becomes less forgiving. It no longer bounces back from disrupted nights. Instead, it adapts, often in ways that accelerate stiffness, fatigue, inflammation, and metabolic strain. This is not punishment, it is protection. Your body is trying to preserve energy in an environment that feels unpredictable. When night signals chaos, the body chooses conservation over renewal. That is why many people wake up feeling older than they should, heavier, slower, less resilient. They assume this is age. But often it is rhythm. The goal of this video is not to shame your habits. It is to show you how your body interprets them. Once you understand that interpretation, change becomes natural, not forced, because after 40, the body does not need more effort. It needs clearer signals. One of the most powerful aging accelerators after 40 is irregular sleep timing. Not short sleep, not even occasional late nights. Irregularity. Your body operates on circadian rhythms, internal clocks that regulate hormones, temperature, digestion, and cellular repair. When these rhythms are stable, the body knows when to repair. When they are disrupted, repair becomes inefficient. After 40, circadian rhythms become less flexible. They resist sudden changes. They require consistency to function well. Late nights, especially inconsistent ones, confuse the system. Going to bed at 10 p.m. one night and 1 a.m. the next sends conflicting signals to the brain. The body does not know when to release melatonin, growth hormone, or cortisol. As a result, hormonal timing shifts. Growth hormone release becomes weaker, melatonin production becomes delayed, cortisol rises earlier in the morning. This leads to lighter sleep, early awakenings, and reduced overnight repair. Irregular timing also affects body temperature regulation. The body naturally cools down before sleep. Late nights interrupt this cooling process. When temperature remains elevated, sleep depth decreases, muscle repair slows, inflammation persists. Another overlooked factor is metabolic timing. Eating late and sleeping late disrupts insulin sensitivity. After 40, insulin resistance increases more easily. This causes blood sugar instability during sleep, triggering micro-awakenings and stress hormone release. The body remains in a semi-alert state, not fully resting, not fully awake. Over time, this state accelerates aging by increasing oxidative stress and inflammatory load. Irregular sleep also impacts the brain. The glymphatic system, responsible for clearing waste from the brain, works best during deep rhythmic sleep. Disrupted timing reduces this clearance. Toxins accumulate more easily. Cognitive fatigue increases. This is why inconsistent sleepers often report brain fog, stiffness, and low energy, even if total sleep hours seem adequate. The body does not age because of one late night. It ages because it cannot predict the next one. Consistency is not about control. It is about trust. When your body trusts nightfall, it invests in repair. When it does not, it conserves, and conservation over years looks like aging. One of the most underestimated night habits that accelerates aging after 40 is eating too late in the evening. For many people, late eating feels harmless. A small snack, a light dinner, something comforting before bed. But after 40, timing matters as much as content. Digestion is an active, energy-demanding process. It requires blood flow, enzyme production, insulin response, and nervous system engagement. At night, your body is designed to slow these systems down. When you eat late, you force the body to choose between digestion and recovery always loses. After 40, digestive efficiency declines naturally. Stomach acid production decreases, enzyme output becomes less robust, gut motility slows. Food that would be easily processed earlier in the day now lingers longer in the digestive tract. This lingering creates pressure, not always discomfort, but physiological stress. Blood flow is redirected toward the gut instead of muscles and connective tissue. Inflammation regulation is delayed. Sleep depth is reduced. Late eating also disrupts insulin signaling. After 40, insulin sensitivity decreases. Blood sugar spikes last longer. The body releases more insulin to compensate. At night, this leads to blood sugar instability. When blood sugar drops during sleep, the brain perceives danger. It responds by releasing cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones may not wake you fully, but they fragment sleep architecture. The result is shallow sleep that fails to restore the body. Late eating also affects body temperature. Digestion produces heat. At night, the body needs to cool down to initiate deep sleep. When digestion continues, temperature remains elevated. This blocks deep sleep stages responsible for repair. Over time, this pattern accelerates aging by increasing oxidative stress, inflammation, and hormonal imbalance. Another overlooked issue is gut-brain communication. The gut and brain are closely connected through the vagus nerve. Late digestion keeps this communication active. Instead of shifting into parasympathetic rest mode, the nervous system remains engaged. The body stays semi-alert. This is why people who eat late often experience vivid dreams, restlessness, or early awakenings. After 40, the gut becomes more sensitive to this disruption. What once felt normal now becomes costly. Late-night eating does not just affect sleep, it affects recovery quality, and recovery quality determines how fast the body ages. Another powerful aging accelerator after 40 is nighttime exposure to artificial light and digital stimulation. Screens are not just visual tools, they are neurological activators. Light signals tell the brain whether it is day or night. Artificial light, especially blue spectrum light, delays melatonin production. After 40, melatonin production is already reduced. This makes the brain more sensitive to light exposure. A small amount of light that barely affected you at 30 can significantly delay sleep at 45. But light is only part of the problem. Screens stimulate cognition. Even passive scrolling engages attention, comparison, anticipation, and emotional response. The brain does not enter rest mode when exposed to constant novelty. After 40, the brain becomes more protective of energy. It resists unnecessary stimulation. Nighttime screen use keeps the brain in a problem-solving state. This delays the shift into parasympathetic dominance, the state required for cellular repair. Artificial light also disrupts circadian gene expression. Thousands of genes follow daily rhythms. Light exposure at night alters these rhythms. This affects immune function, inflammation control, and tissue repair. Over time, this disruption accelerates biological aging. Screens also affect eye-brain signaling. Bright screens strain the visual system. This activates alertness pathways. Even when you feel sleepy, your brain remains partially awake. This leads to fragmented sleep and reduced deep sleep. The cumulative effect is subtle but powerful. One night does little harm. Years of nightly exposure reshape recovery patterns. After 40, the body stops compensating. Instead, it adapts by reducing repair output. This adaptation looks like aging: less resilience, more stiffness, slower recovery. Reducing nighttime screen exposure is not about discipline. It is about giving the brain permission to rest. When light and stimulation decrease, the brain shifts naturally into recovery mode. No forcing required. One of the most damaging night habits after 40 is not physical at all. It is mental overstimulation. This habit is subtle because it feels productive, responsible, or even relaxing. But biologically, it is expensive. Mental overstimulation at night keeps the brain in a state of anticipatory vigilance. The brain continues to plan, analyze, replay, and prepare. After 40, the brain becomes more protective of energy. It no longer tolerates constant cognitive activity without consequence. When the mind stays active at night, the body cannot fully shift into recovery mode. Sleep still happens, but restoration does not. The nervous system operates in two primary modes: sympathetic, alert, protective, and parasympathetic, restorative, repairing. Mental activity keeps the sympathetic system partially engaged. Emails, news, problem-solving conversations, and even intense entertainment activate stress response pathways. The brain does not distinguish between real threats and imagined ones. It responds the same way. After 40, this response becomes stronger and lasts longer. Cortisol release increases, adrenaline lingers, heart rate variability decreases. These changes reduce deep sleep duration and disrupt REM cycles. The body remains guarded rather than surrendered. Mental overstimulation also affects memory processing. REM sleep is essential for emotional integration. When the mind is overloaded, REM sleep becomes fragmented or intense. This can lead to vivid dreams, restless sleep, or waking with unresolved emotional tension. Instead of clearing the mental slate, the brain carries it into the next day. Over time, this pattern accelerates aging by increasing inflammatory signaling and reducing cellular repair efficiency. The brain never fully rests. Another consequence is sleep misinterpretation. Many people believe they are resting because they are lying still, but mental activity consumes energy. After 40, energy conservation becomes critical. When the brain remains active at night, it borrows energy from repair processes. Muscle recovery slows, immune regulation weakens, hormonal balance shifts. The body adapts by reducing repair expectations. This adaptation feels like aging. Mental overstimulation also increases sleep latency, the time it takes to fall asleep. Even if you fall asleep quickly, the quality of early sleep is compromised. This early sleep window is when growth hormone release is highest. Losing quality during this window has a disproportionate effect on recovery. Creating mental closure before bed is not about relaxation techniques, it is about containment. After 40, the brain needs reassurance that tomorrow is manageable. Without that reassurance, it stays awake to protect you. Many night habits that feel relaxing actually disrupt recovery after 40. Alcohol is the most common example. Alcohol creates sedation, not sleep. It depresses the central nervous system, initially making it easier to fall asleep, but it fragments sleep later in the night. After 40, the liver processes alcohol more slowly. Its byproducts remain in the system longer. These byproducts increase inflammation and disrupt REM sleep. Alcohol suppresses REM sleep early in the night. Later, REM rebounds aggressively. This rebound causes vivid dreams, night sweats, and early awakenings. The body never reaches a stable recovery rhythm. Alcohol also affects temperature regulation. It causes peripheral vasodilation, increasing heat loss. Later, the body overcompensates by increasing core temperature. This temperature fluctuation disrupts deep sleep. Another overlooked effect is dehydration. Alcohol is a diuretic. It increases fluid loss during the night. After 40, dehydration contributes significantly to morning stiffness and fatigue. Relaxation rituals can also be misleading. Television, intense storytelling, late-night discussions, and emotional content stimulate the brain. They provide distraction, not restoration. The brain remains engaged, processing narratives and emotions. After 40, emotional processing requires more resources. Late-night emotional stimulation increases cognitive load during sleep. This reduces repair efficiency. Even supplements marketed for sleep can backfire if they sedate without supporting sleep architecture. True recovery requires nervous system downshifting, not forced shutdown. The body senses forced sedation as loss of control. It responds with micro-awakenings and vigilance. Over time, these patterns accelerate biological aging by increasing stress signaling and reducing repair investment. True relaxation after 40 is quiet, predictable, and boring. And boring is exactly what the body needs to heal. One of the most underestimated night habits that accelerates aging after 40 is inconsistent sleep timing. Not lack of sleep, not short sleep, but irregular sleep. Going to bed and waking up at different times each day sends conflicting signals to the body's internal clock. After 40, this internal clock, the circadian rhythm, becomes less flexible. In your 20s, the body can absorb inconsistency with minimal cost. After 40, inconsistency becomes expensive. The circadian rhythm regulates nearly every repair process in the body: hormone release, cellular cleanup, immune signaling, temperature regulation, and metabolic efficiency. When sleep timing shifts daily, these processes lose synchronization. Repair still happens, but inefficiently. This inefficiency feels like aging. The body prefers predictability. Predictability allows it to allocate resources confidently. When bedtime fluctuates, the body remains cautious. Cortisol rhythms flatten. Melatonin release becomes delayed or blunted. Growth hormone secretion shortens. Instead of one long repair window, the body attempts fragmented recovery. This fragmentation increases biological wear. Inconsistent sleep timing also disrupts peripheral clocks, the clocks inside organs. The liver, gut, muscles, and immune cells operate on their own schedules, guided by the central clock in the brain. When sleep timing shifts, these peripheral clocks drift out of phase. This desynchronization increases inflammation. Inflammation is one of the primary drivers of aging. After 40, the body becomes more sensitive to inflammatory signals. Even small increases can produce noticeable fatigue, stiffness, brain fog, and slower recovery. Irregular sleep also affects glucose regulation. The body expects food intake and rest at predictable times. When sleep shifts, insulin sensitivity decreases. Blood sugar regulation worsens overnight. This contributes to morning grogginess and afternoon crashes. Another consequence is sleep pressure confusion. Sleep pressure builds throughout the day and dissipates during sleep. When timing changes, sleep pressure becomes misaligned. You may feel tired early but wired at bedtime, or alert late but exhausted the next day. This misalignment increases frustration around sleep. Frustration itself becomes a stressor. The brain begins to associate nighttime with uncertainty. Uncertainty activates vigilance. Vigilance reduces deep sleep. After 40, deep sleep is already declining naturally. Any additional loss has disproportionate impact. The body responds by lowering repair expectations. This adaptation manifests as faster aging. Consistency is not about discipline, it is about trust. When the body trusts that rest will arrive on schedule, it prepares for it. Preparation enhances recovery. Without trust, the body stays partially alert. Over years, this habit compounds. People often blame age for these changes, but timing inconsistency is a major hidden contributor. Regularity does not mean perfection, it means narrow windows. A consistent bedtime within 30 to 45 minutes is enough to stabilize circadian signaling. The body does not need control, it needs rhythm. Poor sleep after 40 is rarely the root problem, it is the outcome. Night habits shape the environment in which sleep attempts to happen. When those habits send mixed signals, the body adapts defensively. That adaptation feels like aging. Night habits that accelerate aging share a common trait: they reduce predictability. Mental overstimulation, alcohol sedation, emotional intensity, late meals, screen exposure, and inconsistent timing all signal uncertainty. Uncertainty activates protection, not repair. After 40, the body prioritizes safety over optimization. This is not a flaw, it is wisdom. The body has learned that energy is finite. It will not invest deeply in repair unless conditions feel stable. When nights are chaotic, the body conserves. It repairs less aggressively. Cells turn over more slowly. Inflammation lingers longer. Hormonal signals flatten. The result is cumulative wear. Sleep duration alone cannot fix this. You can sleep 8 hours in a hostile recovery environment and still age faster. True sleep quality emerges when night habits align with biological expectations. Quiet, predictable, low stimulation, emotionally neutral, consistent. These conditions allow the nervous system to downshift fully. Only then does deep repair occur. Aging accelerates not because you are doing something wrong, but because the body is responding intelligently to perceived instability. The goal is not to control sleep. The goal is to remove reasons for vigilance. When vigilance disappears, sleep restores itself. The purpose of understanding night habits is not perfection, it is awareness. After 40, small adjustments create large effects. You do not need to fix everything at once. Choose one habit, reduce stimulation slightly, stabilize timing gently, simplify evenings gradually. Let the body feel safer at night. When safety increases, repair follows. Sleep does not need force, it needs permission, and permission begins with how you treat your nights.